"23 minutes past the hour. Welcome back to Ghost Talk Radio with me as your host, Shelly Robertson. And joining me tonight is Kristen Boyd. If you have just tuned in, we invite you all to join us in our interactive chat at wbhm-db.com, where you can ask us any questions you may have. We have been discussing ley lines and paranormal activity. If you missed the first part of the show, no worries, folks. You can catch the full show archive at your leisure on Spreaker, Google Play, iTunes, and iHeartRadio. So with that, let's continue. There's so much more to talk about, and it's so interesting, Kristen.
There is. Well, there's actually a lot of evidence showing that our ancestors were working with ley lines well before they'd even been discovered within the 1920s.
Nice.
So not only were their sacred structures built on these energy-enhanced areas, but it also appears they were able to detect and even harness this energy that were produced and were able to amplify that energy even more. Now, they used this energy from the ley lines to permit themselves to have more personal, positive energy. They also believed that in these areas of high energy, they could communicate better with the gods they were worshiping.
Nice.
Now, most of these man-made structures were based upon people's religions and cultures, with them believing that these paths contained spiritual significance. Now, a few of these ancient sacred sites include the Egyptian pyramids, Peru's Indian ruins, Stonehenge, the Great Wall of China, and Mayan and Aztec and Incan monuments. Other man-made structures found in these ley lines include moats, castles, churches, and crossroads. So far, researchers have found 800 straight ley lines, 300 geometric figures, and 70 animal and plant designs created by our ancestors, but all of which can only be seen by the air.
Is that fascinating or what?
Very much.
In relation to paranormal occurrences or oddities, the Egyptian pyramids have long been known to have strong curses attached to them, and people have been reported to suffer from these curses. Now, the Machu Picchu has been also reported to be haunted, especially around the temple itself. And Stonehenge, however, is one of the most noted haunted ancient places, being built on pagan burial grounds and also being the center of 14 crossing ley lines.
Wow.
Isn't that just so fascinating?
It is.
Now, this many intersecting ley lines creates a vortex of pure energy. Now, combining all of that with it also being in alignment with the summer solstice sunrise, Stonehenge is definitely considered a power point of energy when it comes to ley line intersections. There is a very notable haunted location that is situated on 2 ley lines and was built on an ancient pagan burial ground. The ancient Ram Inn in England is believed to be haunted by upwards of 20 different ghosts. It is said that this inn was the site of a child sacrifice and devil worshipping. Some of the ghosts that haunt this location include an incubus, which is a male sex demon. La la la. A priestess that has been spotted several times sitting on a bed. Maybe she's waiting for the incubus.
Maybe.
And visitors have also claimed to have heard agonizing screams of a young girl.
The Isle of Wight, better known as Ghost Island, is considered to be one of the most haunted islands ever to exist. There is reported to be thousands of ghosts, spirits, poltergeists, and apparitions that haunt this island. This surplus of activity is credited to the powerful unseen ley lines that run under the British island. These ley lines are credited to helping create the charge or current needed to enhance the electromagnetic and vibrational field on this island, helping to increase the psychic potential for ghost sightings. This island is said to be home to phantom monks, gray ladies, poltergeists, spirits of smugglers, soldiers, royalty, Romans, and also viewings of ghostly murders, ghost ships, and even ghost trains.
Ghost trains.
Ghost trains. That's pretty interesting.
Yes, it is.
Now, undead soldiers have been seen within the old fortress, along with having a haunted police station, a courthouse, a lighthouse, a library, and a prison. So needless to say, this is a hot spot for many paranormal investigators with a wide variety of haunts to choose from.
So I know some people probably heard a whole lot of commotion a few minutes ago. Like I said, we are having a live ghost hunting event, and somebody ventured on upstairs.
Yep.
So it wasn't EVPs or spirits. It was actual living human being. Now, in case anybody was wondering. Now, speaking of haunted places and ley lines,
the lines, they extend directly to the Gallows Hill Park.
yes, and it is most likely the site of the 1962 hangings during the Salem witch trials in Salem, Massachusetts. Now, that is also reportedly a very haunted location. You can find haunted locations clustered on and around these ley lines. A great example is the ones that run through Chicago. There are 3 lines that run through Chicago, and the bulk of the reported hauntings there are right along those lines. It's very fascinating to see that. Now, there are many other natural anomalies that when the right mixture of energies are combined, they help to enhance paranormal occurrences and experiences.
Ghosts and our spirits.
Can you guys stay down, please, for just a little bit? Thank you. I don't know. Sorry about that, folks. We have had a lot of studies of occurrences and experiments. Ghosts and spirits can draw their energy from many different resources. Some of these resources do include electrical storms, power lines, geomagnetic fields, and underground waterways. Now, a few of the more well-known of these anomalies would include thunderstorms and full moons, which is where we will begin our next discussion here. Now, during a thunderstorm, it is believed a higher vibrational frequency is reached by not only the living, but also the non-living. Thunderstorms that contain higher amounts of lightning create extra energy within the atmosphere by charging the air with both positive and negative ions that spirits or entities can feed from, which help them to manifest, which then increases one's chance to capture paranormal activities during these times.
Well, lunar phases, like full moons, they also affect Earth's geomagnetic fields due to it being closer to the Earth itself.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it causes the tides to rise and fall by the pull of its gravitational force. Now, studies have shown that the period of new moon or full moon plus 3 days before and after the actual new or full moon tend to have a much higher level of paranormal activity.
Very interesting.
Well, it also has an effect known as moon madness. which is when people and animals behave very strangely and even aggressively during these moon phases. Now, ghostly activity is thought to be affected and enhanced by the moon phases and the gravitational pull it creates. Now, it's even been suggested that the light the moon creates during this time, paired with the way our bodies are affected by these phases, they attribute to the higher paranormal evidence that is collected during these times.
Nice.
In ancient beliefs and practices, thought the spirit world was more noticeable during the phases of the moon and would use it as a chance to perform rituals to speak to the spirit realm. Now, it's said that the best time to experience paranormal phenomena is 2 to 3 days before or after a full or new moon.
Yes, because that's when everything is like really amped up.
All that energy.
Absolutely. Next, we will discuss both solar flares, solar X-rays, and solar storms in relation to paranormal evidence and occurrences. Solar activity can affect the Earth's geomagnetic field as well, most commonly occurring within 1 to 4 days after a solar flare. Now, there will be an influx of slower moving energy, which results in a geomagnetic storm. In direct correlation with the intensity of the solar activity, the variation in the geomagnetic field can be quite substantial. Now, solar flares occur when a large flaming flare shoots out from the sun, rising into space, then it crashes back onto the sun's surface. When this occurs, massive amounts of solar X-rays and cosmic radiation are forced outward from the sun and make their way back to Earth. In doing this, it raises the level of energy within the Earth's atmosphere, causing the geomagnetic field to become unsettled. Now, a higher amount of energy within this air creates an increased number of paranormal sightings. In fact, some of the best known paranormal evidence has been found during an X-class or mega flare and geomagnetic storms. Class M and Class X solar flares are the strongest source of energy for spirit manifestation. However, like any spike within these fields, will give extra energy to the entities and help to increase their activity. Now, solar storms, they also have this effect on the Earth's magnetic field, but to a larger degree. Both occurrences cause rapid vibrations or variations in the geomagnetic field, which caused by a spurge of positively charged ions being introduced into the Earth's atmosphere. And during these storms, there is an increase within the Earth's electromagnetic field and the amount of energy in the Earth's atmosphere. This in turn gives the spirits a large amount of energy to feed off of, allowing the frequency of paranormal phenomena to increase. Now, I know this sounds a little confusing and a whole lot of information.
It is a lot. But it all makes a lot of sense.
It does make a lot of sense. And what causes like certain days of the year, or you can just see when some of these atmospheric things happen, the increase, or especially in sightings, and not just ghosts. They're doing this with UFO sightings and all. So with some of this stuff,
We may have to do a personal study right here at the jail.
Yes.
Well, during times when the geomagnetic fields are low, spirits can tap into other conventional energy resources to help them manifest and communicate.
Okay.
Some, which we are familiar with.
Yes.
Now, they would include such things as electrical appliances, power lines, and batteries.
Batteries, we all know too well.
We do. Which is, why many of our cameras and recorders become drained so quickly in some incidents during our paranormal investigations.
Yes.
A few other environmental factors that can enhance one's paranormal experiences include the solstice and equinox, barometric pressure, and even humidity. The solstice and equinox that occur every year also present more opportunities for extraordinary paranormal investigations with above normal activity.
Yes.
Cultures around the world believe these times are of supernatural importance.
Especially, which a future show will talk about the witches and the Wiccans